dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program, Africa Today. Minister of Finance Mohammed Maït and Governor of Egypt at the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, said that Egypt is opening up to the world for partnerships and are more stimulating for sustainable development. More details in the following story.
Maït and the governor of Egypt at the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank said that Egypt is opening up to the world for partnerships that are more stimulating for sustainable development. He said that Egypt is working with the AIIB, a global multilateral bank for cross-border development partnerships led by the private sector. He added that the next period will see more bilateral development cooperation to increase the investment portfolio, which is worth $1.3 billion in Egypt. Maït said that multilateral development cooperation is the key word for economic recovery in a world of challenges. He said that accessing international markets has become harder and more expensive, and the financing gaps have grown. He added that the development process requires huge funds while emerging economies struggle with the high cost of providing energy and food for their citizens. Maït said that Egypt has a strategic geographical location that enables it to play a key role in achieving continental interconnection between Africa, Asia, and Europe. He said that this is consistent with the state's efforts to become a regional and global hub for production and export, given its potential. He urged the Egyptian private sector to take advantage of the financing that the AIIB can offer in many promising fields to establish more partnerships. He said, "We look forward to seeing this stage. The next step is to benefit from the international expertise and capabilities of the bank in extending the scope of infrastructure projects as they are the backbone of economic, social, and development life."
And moving on, where in a new report, the UNCTAD shows that Africa can become a major exporter of the high value-added goods, creating growth and jobs and fueling a rise in the productivity and wages. Launching the report in Nairobi, UNCTAD Secretary General Rebecca Greenspan insisted it would offer a better future for the continent economies. More details in the following story.
In a new report, the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development shows that Africa can become a major exporter of higher value-added goods, creating growth and jobs and fueling a rise in productivity and wages. Launching the report in Nairobi, UNCTAD Secretary General Rebecca Greenspan insisted it would offer a better future for the continent's economies. Greenspan highlighted three factors driving the huge opportunity for the continent. From a geopolitical point of view, countries and businesses are seeking to diversify their suppliers and thus reduce risk. Africa is well placed to tap into the trend, which together with the African Continental Free Trade Area offers great opportunities for participating in global supply chains. Africa also has a unique advantage amid the rise of the renewable energy market, as it is a vital source of raw materials for technology-intensive industries, for instance, lithium, essential to the production of electric car batteries. It has the possibility to become a destination for manufacturing and should seek to export more complex finished goods rather than just commodities. The report analyzes untapped potential for African countries to strengthen their position in the automobile, solar energy, and pharmaceutical industries.
نحن لدينا مصير مشترك.
مصر
تسلمت الرئاسة الدورية للاتحاد الإفريقي لعام 2019، وتتطلع كعادتها دوما للتعبير عن شواغل الشعوب الإفريقية الشقيقة الرامية لتحقيق الاستقرار والتقدم ودفع عجلة التنمية قدما. إذا كنتم ترغبون في تغيير وجه القارة الأفريقية، فالاتحاد الإفريقي كقيادة تستطيع أن تعمل وتبذ بشكل مركزي لمشروع عملاق لبناء بنية أساسية على مستوى القارة. أنا أتصور أن الأمن والاستقرار استثمار. إذا لم تستقر هذه القارة والأمن فيها بمعدلاته عالية، هذا الأمر سينعكس بالسلب علينا كلنا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نجحت قواتنا المسلحة في عبور قناة السويس على طول المواجهة، وتم الاستيلاء على منطقة الشاطئ الشرقي للقناة، وتواصل قواتنا حاليا قتالها مع العدو بنجاح. هنا القاهرة.
Welcome back. Africa's largest pop culture festival opened with a spotlight on homegrown superheroes, including a Black Knight battling load shedding or relentless power outages that have battered South Africa in the recent years. Lagos, Nigeria, and Nairobi, Kenya have been running their own Comic Con festivals for several years.
Comic fans, creators, gamers, pop culture enthusiasts, cosplayers, and animation lovers have started gathering at this year's Comic Con Africa. Local media say the event will have a record attendance as crowds flock to a vast expo center south of Johannesburg for the event, which runs until September 25th. This fan of a 2001 Japanese animated fantasy film written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki shared her excitement the first day of the three-day event. The festival in South Africa, which is in its fourth edition, has a dedicated Afro-Geek pavilion showcasing comics reflecting African heritage and society. Africa's largest pop culture festival opened with a spotlight on homegrown superheroes, including a Black Knight battling load shedding or relentless power outages that have battered South Africa in recent years. Other Afro-Geek offerings include a comic series inspired by the legendary Zulu king Shaka and African mythology. 3 halls of South Africa's largest purpose-built exhibition venue are dedicated to the celebration of all things pop culture. A kids zone and a gaming lounge have been yet up. Special guests including Stephen John Ward, who stars in One Piece live action series, as well as international celebrities, artists, and authors are to attend. Lagos, Nigeria, and Nairobi, Kenya have been running their own Comic-Con festivals for several years.
And now to shed light on the Egyptian-African relations, we are joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumy, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Ambassador Bayoumy, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
How are you, sir? Ambassador Bayoumy, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said that Egypt has managed over the past years to regain the African confidence under the term of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, adding that the president has always expressed the continent's ambitions. How do you read this?
I read it carefully and happily because I was suffering during my service in Africa that I do not have the presidential umbrella. We were doing our best as ambassadors, our ministers, and good thing that we are the most acceptable face in Africa. Why? Because we are African. Because we are black. Tutankhamun was black. So there was a black civilization. Because we are white, there are white Africans. Because we have Al-Azhar al-Sharif. Everywhere is doing their best because of the Coptic Church of Egypt, which is presiding the Eastern churches all over the continent. Many reasons. Because of Gamal Abdel Nasser and his struggle to resist the occupation in many African countries and his friendship with many African leaders. So, but in the last 20 years before the revolution of 2011, we lacked the presence of our president because he was attacked in Addis Ababa. His life was threatened. Also for the age problem, he didn't visit any African country during the last 20 years of his time. This made us in a problem because I was serving in a country where we invited the president 7 times without being able to fix a date for the visit. This is not good enough. Yeah. Now we have a president who visited many African countries, and I am proud because I have a personal experience here. I was ambassador to Yaoundé, Cameroon.
Yes.
And I was non-resident ambassador to Equatorial Guinea. Why non-resident? Because there isn't any way to live in Equatorial Guinea for an embassy. And the resident ambassadors were 4 ambassadors out of 170. So now President al-Sisi visited Malabo, the capital of Equatorial Guinea, and he took with him the Arab constructor building Egyptian embassy. Now we have even ladies diplomat in Malabo. We have an embassy and ambassador.
Yes.
This shows you how he went everywhere, even in a country where most of the countries are non-residents, diplomatic relations. And he chaired the African Union in 2019. We represented the continent in the United Nations Security Council. We are we represented Africa much more than any other country. We share the African Union much more than any other country. So this is the situation. And all the African countries are represented in Egypt. One addition, that we were divided under 3 sub-regional organizations, the COMESA and the NEPAD and so on. During the presidency of Egypt and President Sisi, we committed the initiative of making the 3 sub-regional organizations one big African free trade area of 51 countries. This is a huge effort. That's why I think Sameh Shukri is absolutely right, and I am happy for that.
Yes. Actually, sir, since 2014, Egypt has placed the African continent at the top of its priorities based on firm conviction in its African identity and the belief in the long-standing ties with the continent. How do you see Egypt's vision for Africa now and for the coming period? How do you see the ties binding Egypt and the rest of the African continent?
We have many initiatives because we see that Africa is not in a fair position in its relation with the world. The money flow from Africa towards the developed countries is much more than money it receives, because Africa is indebted. Africa is paying its invoice of imports much more than it receives of investment, or much more than it exports. So we need this initiative of President Sisi, where he asked the developed countries to come and invest in Africa with the Egyptian experience, which is the best and the cheapest and most efficient. This is our vision, that we need more and more investment in Africa, because trade is exhausted all the possibilities. We need to invest on the food industry, canned food industry, forestry, many things. We have very easy goals for investment. That's what we are doing. Also, we have hundreds of our experts serving in Africa on the account of the Egyptian Development Fund for Africa, and we are helping there with our experts. Many things Egypt is doing, and I hope we can continue, and we shall continue, of course, in this direction.
Indeed. Ambassador Gamal Bayoumy, former Assistant Foreign Minister, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being with us, our dear viewers. With that, we come to the end of this edition of our program, Africa Today. I'm Mahisi Rabia. Many thanks for watching.